Am I the asshole for throwing away my husband's Xbox after he refused to look for our lost dog? Watch until the end of the video to find out whether the people of the internet thinks the person is an asshole or not. This is going to be a little long. Please try to bear with me and understand my situation. Thank you. For starters, I am a nurse 35F. I have been extremely busy these past 3 months. Even writing this post is a privilege, and I am having to do this in bits and pieces. I also gave birth to my daughter 6 months ago. I have an 8-year-old son as well. When I am not working, I take care of my children. In January 2019, my son suddenly developed this strong desire to have a dog. He begged and begged for a puppy from my husband, 35M. I protested against that because I had just found out that I was pregnant. Jesus, my husband said that we should let our son have a puppy to teach him some responsibility and that he would have some practice to take care of his baby sibling. He had also promised that he would help our son take care of the dog. I was absolutely unconvinced, but I had to give in eventually because my husband had already agreed and I didn't want to cause further fights. 5 days ago, my son had accidentally left the back door of our house open and the dog ran away. These 5 days were also some of the busiest, most grueling days of my work, and I had to take up night shifts because a colleague had fallen sick. Our son first went to my husband for help. He refused to help him and said that it was my son's responsibility to care for and he has to do something about it himself. My husband has the privilege of working from home. He works at a law firm. He works for maybe 3 to 4 hours a day and plays Xbox the entire time and sometimes gets up to check up on our daughter. He literally has no added pressures. 5 days ago, when our son told me in tears that Dad won't look for Tippy, I talked to my husband, who said that it would teach our son some responsibility to take care of things in the future, which I found very callous since a dog is a living, sentient being and not a thing. He was playing Xbox when I was talking to him as well. He also said he won't look for the dog or anything. Yesterday, after coming home at night, the first thing I did was unplug the Xbox console and controller and throw it in the trash can. This morning, before going to work, my husband threw a fit when he didn't find his Xbox in the living room. I told him that I'd thrown it away because he was so addicted to it that he couldn't even get up and help our distressed son. When I came back from work, he told me he had found his Xbox in the trash since the garbage truck hadn't arrived then. Now, he's being incredibly snarky, giving me the cold shoulder, and he's angry because his controller isn't working. He also hasn't taken any measures to look for our dog, and our mutual best friend called and said my reaction was incredibly childish. Now I am spending my free day calling every neighbor of ours, making internet posters and contacting animal shelters and animal control to see if Tippy had turned up anywhere and consoling my heartbroken son. Am I the asshole? Edit. My husband is a lawyer. A lawyer's job depends on how many clients he has. My husband currently has almost no clients due to obvious reasons. He told me this himself. So his workload is significantly less. This is for all those people who are saying that I am downplaying his work. Update. Tippy still hasn't been found yet. My shift has ended about 30 minutes ago and I'll go home and drive around in my neighborhood and surrounding areas to look for him. Wow, your husband expected an 8-year-old to go look through town for the lost dog by himself cause he wanted to play games instead. Well, what a shitty husband and father he is. Your kid won't forget it, that's for sure. Not the asshole. I would have saved the Xbox, thrown out the husband. Oh dear, that made me laugh. I am just so exhausted both mentally and physically that my husband's lack of response was just the last straw. Girl, it's not a last straw, it's a giant red flag. These are not the actions of a man who loves or respects his family. Yes. Oh, please don't backpedal or laugh this off as something you overreacted to because you're tired, saving lives, raising your family. Your husband is a monster to abandon a lost dog. Think about what he did. That's completely pathological behavior. He literally abandoned the dog and emotionally abandoned his son. If I were up, hubby would be gone already. To add to this, if I were up, that Xbox would have been smashed to pieces, not just in the trash. Not the asshole up. He's not only the monster for not looking for the dog, but he's a giant ass for the mental anguish he has just brought onto his son. And the extra disrespect for his wife in an extremely stressful time for her. I divorced my husband for less than that kind of behavior. He said yes to the dog as the adult he is responsible for his actions of letting your son have one. Which means he is the one responsible for that dog since it was his, yes, and being not the one out every day working in this stressful environment we find ourselves in today. I don't know what kind of lawyer he is, but if he were mine and I found out about this, I'd drop him in a heartbeat. Not the asshole. I was going to go with ESH because throwing something in the trash is not the right response, but your husband sucks so much that I'm sticking with NTA. I so feel for you. Your husband's response is truly callous and shows him as uncaring and irresponsible parent and spouse. And it goes beyond not helping to search for the dog, is also him not picking up the slack when you are so stressed at work and are dealing with your kids. Sadly, the current situation has exposed assholes in many people. Yeah, 99 times out of 100 I fall in the "I for an eye leaves the world blind" camp that I can't get over not going to look for a dog and basically letting your kids suffer like that. I can't get over telling an 8-year-old to handle it himself. An 8-year-old. I don't have kids, but I don't think I would trust an 8-year-old to handle a goldfish, but old boy has this kid just taking care of a puppy. Something that makes me want to pull my hair out at times. Your son will be scarred by this for a long time. When he emotionally needed his father, he did not act like a parent. Sounds like your husband is a bit of a selfish jerk. Although two wrongs don't make a right. Your son is also watching you on how to handle it. Teach him well. Piggybacking this as a person who had a parent use endangering a pet as a teaching moment at the same age, your son will literally never forget this. It will inevitably come up if he ever has to seek therapy as an adult. He will use it for the rest of his life as one of his markers for the kind of person his dad is. My parents never did it with an animal. We had dogs growing up, but I wasn't friends with them. I don't think they were very good dogs, and my parents were probably terrible pet owners, but they were big on teaching me lessons that just left me feeling alone and helpless. My mom's favorite was throwing me into situations where I would have to communicate with adults while not giving me the information I needed to do so successfully. Like calling the electric company even though they would only talk to the account holder, who was obviously not me, and I don't have the account number anyway. Therapy has mostly helped with the anxiety disorder I developed, but I haven't spoken to my mom in over a decade and never plan to again. It's terrifyingly easy to fuck up your kids permanently by not giving them a support network. OMG, I have anxiety and my parents would do similar things. I'll have to talk to my therapist about that too. NTA. Strongly considered ESH because your reaction was super immature. But I'm sticking with NTA because your husband is seriously wrong, and considering the fact that you're a nurse during this pandemic. And you just gave birth recently and you have an 8-year-old and a husband who sounds like zero help. I can't really blame you for reacting the way you did. Tippy is not a lesson to teach. Like you said, the dog is a sentient being and forcing an 8-year-old to try to find him is unreasonable. This sounds more like laziness than a proper lesson. What does your husband expect your son to do? Go out on his own searching around the neighborhood? Visit animal shelters by himself to see if anyone has brought Tippy in. Your husband needs to seriously step up. You can't do everything. Anyway, hope you find Tippy and that you stay safe at work. 100% agree with your opinion, but you might want to edit the part where you type TSH and space the letters out if you want your vote to count.